Yeah.
They'll probably hop into whatever he's doing.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Hey, real quick, how was the conference this year?
The NSA, the winter conference.
Yeah. So
Oh,
didn't it just wrap?
It was, so the NSA winter conference in Baltimore was great, and then the big conference is in the summer.
Oh, that's right. Of course it is. Yes. I remember. Yeah. Okay. All right. Good.
So let's do the rise of the Youpreneur. There it is.
This is going on your Do It marketing page. Am I right?
It's going everywhere. It's going on my personal page. It's being shared. It's going crazy town. Crazy town.
All right. Cool. Just so I know, I'll make sure that I share it when we're done chatting.
Absolutely. So we're starting. It's doing its thing. We're probably live now, but it's just faking us out, going, no.
We're looking very unprofessional
stuff. Absolutely. So we're starting. Oh, hang on, I got to mute myself now. No, see, it does this thing where it's going to fake us out. Okay. So, welcome everybody. I am super excited. I have the one, the only Chris Ducker, author of the incredible, amazing, and I'm going to tell you why it's incredible and amazing in a moment, The Rise of the Youpreneur. Youpreneur. You. Chris, how are you, buddy?
I'm fantastic, man. Thanks for having me. It's a pleasure. I mean, it's always a pleasure to chat with you, but it's more so than exciting for me at the moment, because obviously with the new book out and all that sort of stuff. So go ahead.
No, I'm just going to say it's a fantastic book, and I'll rant and rave about it. Then I've got a whole bunch of questions for you about it, but just a fantastic book. And let me tell you why. Can I tell you why?
Yeah, I will not stop you from ranting and raving about my new book.
Well, because we're doing the preamble. People are still coming in. They're getting a beverage. They're getting a little bourbon. Oh,
good boy. I got some behind me. It's a little early. For me to start.
It depends on where you are. You are. But seriously, I just got this book. It was just released. I pre-ordered it. Amazon got it to my house as soon as humanly possible. I love so many things about this book. First of all, bold graphic design. So the way that a book looks, before I even read a single word, I'm going to flip through. I'm going to look at this. Full bleed, people. Full bleed. I love this kind of book. So graphically, it pops. The content is genius. And let me set the context, Chris. I'll share what I shared with you before we started the camera. I said every 5 or 10 years, a book comes along that every speaker, author, coach, consultant, and solo entrepreneur needs to read. So your friend Michael Hyatt, for example.
Yep.
When he came out with the book Platform, I don't know what that was, 2007, 2008, whenever that was. I read the book. I picked up the book. I said, okay, this is a game changer. Everyone needs to run out and buy a copy of Platform. Even before that, 2001, 2002, our buddy Michael Port, another one of your fabulous supporters and endorsers.
Yes.
Balder than me, balder than you. Michael Port, Book Yourself Solid. I read that book. It blew my mind. I said, oh my gosh, everyone needs to read Book Yourself Solid. I'll tell you, folks, The Rise of the Youpreneur, this is your book. This is the third one now that you need to kind of come forward in time. We had the 2001 book. We had the 2007 or 8 book. This is 2018 through 2025. This is the future of business. This is the book you need to read, follow, implement, and use as your handbook for the next 5 to 7 years of your business. And I'll tell you why. If you're an executive, if you're an entrepreneur and you want to make your mark, whether that's with personal branding, whether that's with content marketing, whether that's getting raised, praised, and promoted in your job, whether that is getting more clients and making more money as a solo entrepreneur, or you want to grow your business beyond a solo entrepreneur, which I've done in the last 18, 24 months, this is the blueprint. This is the blueprint. This is the map. This is not even, blueprint and map doesn't give it justice, because it is the blow-by-blow, step-by-step, exactly what to do. So, having said that, Chris Ducker, Mr. Ducker, talk about what is a youpreneur. What's your definition of this fantastic term that you coined back in 2014 of youpreneur?
I mean, I would love to talk about that, but I think we should just end the show right now.
Yeah, we're done.
We're done. After all of that, I'm not even going to talk. No, a Youpreneur is someone who builds a business based around them, their personality, their experience, and the people that they want to ultimately serve. So it's people like you and I. It's speakers, it's authors, it's consultants, coaches, content creators, bloggers, podcasters, YouTubers, live streamers, anybody really building that business of you that I've been calling it, for so many, many years now. And these are the people that I have been pretty much exclusively working with for the last 4 or 5 years. So this book hasn't sort of come about because of the fact that, I wanted to write another book. Like, this has genuinely come about from pure experience of my own in building my own personal brand and several different businesses around that. And then also working with, obviously, thousands of other people as well.
So we're playing some inside baseball here. I've got my prepared questions, but I also want to tap into your specific genius, because a lot of people say, I'm going to write a book, then I'm going to build an online community around the ideas in the book, and then I'm going to build a course, and then I'm going to have some mentoring, and I'm going to coach people, but I'm going to write the book first. And you did it 180 degrees the other way. You built the community back in 2013, 2014. You had this idea, and this is the result of a 4-year journey of working with those people, serving those people, helping those people, coaching and mentoring and teaching those people. You did it all backwards. To me, that seems like the exact right way. So talk about community and movement resulting in the book.
Yeah, I mean, it is the exact right way to do it. You're 100% right. The problem is, though, that there are a whole bunch of people doing it the wrong way because they're not patient, quite frankly. And, if you want to write a great book to build a great business around, you need to start building the business first, because you can't write a great book unless you know who you're writing it for. And the best way to find out who you're writing the book for is to actually work with them, right? So we launched, the phrase, the term Youpreneur was coined in 2014 at a coffee meeting with my good buddy Pat Flynn. And, we launched the business, Youpreneur.com, the community, in 2015. And really, the book first hit me as a kind of potential project around the middle to the end of 2016. So what had happened was we had launched the community. We had launched it very, very successfully. There was probably 400 or 500 people in there within a few months of the doors swinging open. But once we did a little bit of a content audit in the middle of 2016, we realized in our learning library, and Youpreneur it's a community based around personal brand entrepreneurs. So it's obviously perfect for the people who I wrote the book for, but it really is everything from building, marketing, and monetizing that personal brand business, right? And so
people like Corey freaking Perlman, who's watching right now.
That guy.
He's
watching. We should boot him out. We should boot him out of the call. Can we get rid of him?
Perlman, do you have your copy of this? Come on, man.
Corey was very gracious. I think I saw him tweet it out yesterday. He's very gracious. He's a good friend.
He is. He's a superb human being.
He is. He's amazing. So, bottom line is, when we did this content audit, we realized there was actually several gaps in the content, the learning library. And so we started kind of figuring out what those gaps were going to look like when we filled them, and how we were going to kind of refashion the library so people could genuinely go through the content step by step to build, market, and monetize that personal brand. And actually, that was where the Youpreneur roadmap was born. And I remember it, David, like it was yesterday. I was looking at the whiteboard, which is right in front of me here. It's about 8 foot wide, 5 or 6 feet deep, huge whiteboard in my home office here. There was a couple of members of my team with me, and I'm looking at it, and it was like something out of A Beautiful Mind, with Russell Crowe, that film.
Yes.
All the equations come off the windows and all the rest of it, right? And I looked at it, I was like, holy cow, this is my next book. And we went to work writing it pretty much straight away, or at least planning it straight away.
So you put so much smart stuff in here. You know what my definition of smart is?
Go on.
Stuff I agree with.
Good.
Yeah. It's like, there's some idiots that like don't agree with you and me, but they're idiots.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys. Sorry.
Who needs them? Who needs them?
So you put in here, Youpreneur has a couple of different layers, and I want to kind of dig into this with you about bringing your true personality into your business, into your marketing, into your content, into your videos. I want to talk about video and kind of live video and online video and YouTube and how video is becoming even more critical. I am known because, as you know, and as Corey Perlman knows, I have an affinity for bourbon. So I will do a Facebook Live and I'll put hashtag BourbonCast. And I will actually drink bourbon. This here is 4 Roses single batch in case Corey Perlman's curious. And I will drink. So Chris, here's to you. Here's to the new book. Let me just take a quick sip.
Thank you, my man. Very much appreciated.
Now, I will tell you why I did that just there. A woman gets on a call with me, wants to possibly hire me as a consultant and roll in my mentoring program. She says to me the following words. Well, David, I've been following you online. I've seen some of your videos. I see that you're drinking in some of your videos. Nothing wrong with that. That's your personal choice. I couldn't possibly work with someone who drinks alcohol during a Facebook Live video or in their public-facing thing. You know what I said to her? I said, I totally respect that. I totally get that. Thank you for calling. So I lost some business. I lost a potential client. Now, I love that story. I love the fact that I lost her because what you say in here is so brilliant. You need to attract your people and you need to not just, you're not for me. You need to repel, right? The word repel is in this marketing book. Repel the people who are not for you. Talk about that and why I should keep drinking my goddamn bourbon and I should keep swearing when I want to swear if that's my persona. I'm not going to drop the F-bomb on here, but I do say, God damn it. I say that a lot.
Right.
Oh, he's swearing now. I couldn't possibly work with someone who's swearing. Fine. You're not for me and I'm not for you. How can we be okay with this?
Well, look, clearly swearing hasn't hurt Gary Vaynerchuk and a whole bunch of other successful entrepreneurs out there. But no, and I love that story as well. And I'm going to use that story when the next time I'm on stage talking about this very, very thing. You go ahead and take another sip. You want to refill the glass? I
probably do. Yeah, I probably got to run do that.
Because I'm also a very, very big bourbon and single malt guy, as you know. So my whole thing is, that entire philosophy there is you market like a magnet. That's what I call it. So you attract the best, repel the rest. And like you say, it's not about just getting rid of the wishy-washy people that's in your sphere. It's about actually genuinely repelling people away that aren't of your vibe. Another thing I say all the time is your vibe will attract your tribe, right? And we want to build a tribe. We want to become somebody's favorite. We need to. And through everything that we do from a content marketing perspective, everything we do from a reputation management perspective, marketing like a magnet is at the very core of everything that I do in regards to spreading my message, because I want to work with people that get me and like me for who I genuinely am, not just because of what I can do for them, because I believe relationships should be treasured genuinely. They shouldn't be used for one reason or another. And so I want to work with people that really like me and want to genuinely get on with me and have dinner with me and a couple of glasses of bourbon as we wind down and all those sort of types of things. That's what I'm all about.
Let me just, I'm just kind of, we're tracking our conversation here inside of your book. I mean, this is profound right here about grow your circle, grow your network, right? So if you surround yourself with people who understand what you're all about, you will find it much easier to navigate the waters of success. This is why when a brilliant, fantastic human being like Chris Ducker has a new book, I'm all about promoting the new book, right? Because Chris right now publicly is going to commit to having a guest chapter in my new book. Is that correct?
Yes, I will definitely do that, David.
Because you know what? When Chris does that, we're going to forward the Youpreneur movement in another media, in another channel, in another method. And, everyone's success is cumulative. No one's success takes away from someone else's success. I mean, buddy, I hope you sell 5 million of these. I really, really do. I'm going to work hard to do my part to help you sell 5 million of these.
Thank you.
It's a fantastic book. But when you talk about this, well, you just mentioned it about, and again, pull quote, relationships should be treasured, not used. It's not a mercenary, hey, you do this and I'll do that. And there's a lot of cynicism online, right? Because we're in the online world, joint ventures and affiliate marketing and, oh, David's making money by promoting Chris. You know what? I'm not making a single dime. I'm hanging out with a buddy of mine who just came out with a fantastic, amazing book that you need to buy and that you need to read. And I am profiting this in no way other than, and this is big, other than getting known to my audience as a curator and a pointer out of cool things and smart ideas that they need and other cool people that they need to connect with. So am I growing my personal brand as a Youpreneur by showcasing and highlighting and recommending Chris? Sure. Is Chris growing his brand when he's got Jay Bear and all kinds of fantastic people in here, Amy Schmidauer, Pat Flynn? Yeah, and they're participating in the book, again, because they dig who Chris is and what Chris is up to. If they didn't dig Chris and didn't dig what Chris is up to, believe me, all of these fantastic folks, they've got better things to do with their time than to blurb a book that they don't believe in. Clearly, they blurbed a book that they do believe in. So talk about how, if you're not famous, and by the way, I'm not famous in any way, shape, or form. I'm like, like it. I'm just a regular guy, generally speaking. Everyone has a tribe. Everyone can build these relationships. Why do you think we don't do a better job of doing this on our way up the ladder?
Well, I mean, there's a number of different reasons. I think, again, a lot of people want the shortcut, right? I mean, I don't think there's a week, I was about to say month, but that would be incorrect. I don't think there's a week that goes by where I don't get an email from somebody who's holding a virtual event or a virtual summit online that says, I love your work, Chris. You're fantastic. Yeah. Why have I never seen a tweet from you, mate? Right. And I'm holding a virtual summit. I'd love you to be one of my guest speakers. Only one thing, though, you must have an email list of 10,000 people and email them 3 times in 1 week. Are you high right now? Are you actually high right now? Why would I say yes to that? I don't even know who you are. Right. So right. I think there's a lot of people, honestly, that just want to take the shortcuts, and nothing great in life will come to you if you have that mentality. It's the long game, and we talk about the long game in the book. If you want to build a sustainable, future-proof business based around your experience and the way that you can help people in the world, you are not going to do it in 15 minutes. It's going to take years of hard work, providing value and showing up over and over and over again. Is it going to be easier to do it with a handbook like, my book? Yes, it will be, but it's still going to be hard work and it's still going to take you a while to make it happen. I think the reality is that a lot of people want to take shortcuts and a lot of people want to make money quickly. And they're the people, quite frankly, that I personally work very hard to repel away from me and my work because right. They're not my kind of people.
Right. Now, I want to talk about events. I want to talk about events because I just came from an event in Baltimore, Maryland. You and I were talking about this before we turned the cameras on. I gave Corey Perlman a big man hug, a big bromance hug. He loves you. In fact, you and I met at a live event because of our mutual friend, yes. Corey Perlman.
That's right.
So this whole thing, that's internet, it's cyber, it's, they just connect on Facebook, they exchange emails. No, man, you and I have shared bourbon. You and I have, shaken hands and hung out. And with Corey and with all, I could name 24 people that are very, very important to my life and very, very important to my business that I first met in 3D. Now, you do these amazing events, like you've got the Youpreneur Summit. You're obviously a big proponent of the live human-to-human interaction. Talk about the role of live events, how we can start to convene live events, why your live events are so valuable and important to your business. How does live events play into this kind of virtual strategy?
For me, live events are a very, very key component to my overall brand building kind of mission. A couple of reasons why. Number one, regardless of going viral online or anything like that, I think that when you bring people together who get each other and are all about supporting each other on their journeys, I truly believe that the viral opportunity that creates is way higher than a retweet on Twitter. We sold out the inaugural Youpreneur Summit last November in London 3 months before the event even took place. We had almost 400 people come from 37 countries around the world. And when I made an offer to them on the last day to get their ticket at a discounted rate for this year's event, we had a buy-in of 44% of the room, which was ridiculous. It was far beyond what I thought it was going to be. So it just goes to show you, if you bring people together who genuinely understand and appreciate the journey that they're all on, and you put on a great show and you bring amazing speakers in and you feed them well and you give them a free copy of your book 3 months before it comes out and all those sort of types of things, people will love what you do and what you're all about. And so live events for me, my whole thing is I want to build relationships with handshakes and hugs. That's what I want to do. I've been doing it for a long time. And I'm not just talking about relationships with your customers, by the way. I'm talking about relationships with your peers, with your suppliers, with your staff members, with anyone that you come into contact with. Relationships are the very oxygen that I breathe every single day. You are case in point. I'm sitting here talking to you. The first time we ever met was in 2014 in Philadelphia at the National Speakers Association Summer Convention. You're right, Corey Perlman introduced us. We then had dinner. We sat opposite each other with Jay Beer and a lot of other people. You see, I remember these things because I give a damn about it, quite frankly.
Yeah. And that was by the way, that was in 2013. It was in Philadelphia.
Oh, was it? No, it was in 2014 because the book came out. My first book, my first book was 2014.
Really?
And I had my first book with me. Yes, I'm sure it was.
How about that? Well, it was a fantastic night because then you also came to our Cool People dinner.
Yes.
So we had a couple of dinners during that event, which was fun.
Yeah.
So tell me about, because there's so many great, there no disrespect here. There's probably like 3 books in here. There's a personal branding book, there's a marketing book, and then there's like a pricing and launching and all kinds of other things in here. So listen, guys, buy this book. Buy this book and tell 10 of your friends. Give this as a gift. Don't be a dummy. Share the wealth in this book. You talk about pricing in here, and I beat up my clients constantly about pricing and how not to underprice, and how pricing is such a vital part of your entire Youpreneur brand that you don't want to be known as like, oh yeah, he's the cheap guy. Oh yeah, he's the bargain. He's the Walmart speaker. He's the Walmart consultant. So talk about your strategy about pricing and then some of the things people can look forward to in the entire pricing chapter in here.
Yeah, but pricing is incredibly important for all the reasons that you just talked about, particularly as a Youpreneur. So if you're a coach or a consultant, for example, or a speaker, for example, you don't want to be known. You certainly don't want to be known as the freebie guy. That's for darn sure, right? We all create free content to share online to build awareness of our personalities and what we offer and things like that. And that's fine. But don't start creating tons of like free video training content and all this stuff. People will pay for access to your hard drive between your ears. You've worked hard. You put in blood, sweat, and tears to build your career and your experience level. People are more willing to pay for access to that today than ever before in the history of the world. Plain and simple. I still hire coaches and consultants on a very regular basis for things that I'm struggling with as an entrepreneur because I don't want to struggle, and they know how to help me not do that, right? So I think particularly for those types of individuals, charge what you're worth, and don't you dare apologize for it. You deserve to get paid what you're worth, whether it be on an hour, on a job, on a retainer, whatever it is. Charge what you're bloody worth, plain and Simple. And again, it goes back to it. If people say, I'm not going to pay you $2,000 an hour for consulting, that's ridiculous. What makes you give? Oh my God, no, good gosh, absolutely. Repel those people away.
Yeah.
My rate is $2,000 an hour. Brilliant. Where do I pay, Chris? Boom. They're the guys I want to work with right there.
Right.
So I think it's incredibly important, not just from a money-making perspective, but also from a reputation perspective as well. There's a reason why Richard Branson gets paid $100,000 to do a keynote spot. It's because he's Richard bloody Branson. He's built one of the biggest companies on the planet. If he turned around and said, oh, my keynote fee, there you go, you've got the book. Love it. Nice.
You want two guys with really great brains and great accents? Here you go. This is it. You get Screw It, Let's Do It, and The Rise of the Youpreneur, and that's all you need. Just buy these two books. I'm not interviewing Branson now. Branson couldn't make it. He said, let me get you the $200,000 keynoter, Chris Ducker.
But on a serious note,
Branson hooked this up, right?
Yeah, you did, totally. He's a lovely guy. Very, very nice guy. I'll buy him lunch or something to say thank you. But here's the thing. You see, if Sir Richard was quoting $5,000 for a 45-minute keynote, you would double check that, wouldn't you? You know what I mean? Like, it would be weird, wouldn't it? Right?
It would.
So I think that it's incredibly important to price not just yourself up, but your products, your services, whatever it is you're offering. Very, very important to price your goods and yourself up in the way that it should be. And don't ever apologize for pricing yourself.
Oh my God. You should apologize for underpricing. You should apologize for all the freebies that you've done. That's what you should apologize for. Now, a lot of people say, oh yeah, I read your book, and they skimmed and they flipped through, and I read your book. You have a line in here, a pivotal line. When you've been doing a lot of stuff for free, you want to jump into, okay, let me follow Chris's advice. What's the pivotal line? What's the switch they need to flip? You remember the line I'm talking about?
Good gosh. There's a lot of good lines in the book, Dave. Give it to me. Come on, give me the line.
It's as simple as saying, I'm getting paid for this one.
Right. Okay.
You draw a line in the sand. You say, enough with the freebies. I'm getting paid for this one. And that next thing that you do, that's when you charge the real coaching fee, the real consulting fee, the real speaking fee. I'm going to highlight my copy of this with all the gems, mail this back to you in an envelope and say, start quoting these lines in the book because they're awesome. And you'll have different favorites, but I've got my favorites.
I love that. That's great. Yeah. And I think that, that moment when you decide that you've had enough of just being the content creator or the blogger or the podcast or whatever, when look, you need to make money to enable yourself to continue doing what you've been doing to help people with your content marketing. And let's talk about content marketing real quick, because content marketing is really the only kind of content, or really the only kind of marketing that's left if you think about it properly, right? So, I mean, if you've got big brands doing it that are spending millions of dollars, it's real. But what really grinds my gears is that when people spend all this money, these big brands, they spend all this money on these big content marketing campaigns, and then they forget about the fact that they're actually marketing to individuals, to people. And that drives me nuts. It drives me crazy, because then they miss out on converting so much collateral from a P2P perspective, or as I call it, people to people's perspective. They miss out on that so much, and they leave so much money on the table. People want to do business with other people. And big brands, by the way, can do this. Some of them are doing it better than others. Some of them do it badly 1 minute, and then they do it exceptionally well the next minute, but at least they're trying. I want to tell a very quick story. A good friend of mine, you probably know him as well, his name is Peter Shankman. He's a keynote speaker, best-selling author, blah, 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 blah. Now, Peter is he's probably the loyalist United Airlines passenger I've ever come into contact with. He loves United. Now, United had that nightmare last year where they the viral video when they were dragging the guy off the plane for one reason. I can't remember what it was now. That's a nightmare. You don't drag somebody physically off the plane when it's stationary, when it's 2017, everybody's got a smartphone in their pocket. That's just a silly idea, right? But then they did something just literally weeks later, which showed that they can do P2P right. For years, Peter has been filling out on his flights the customer survey in the air. They give it to you just half an hour before you're about to land. He's been filling it out, and there's one question on every single one that says something along the lines of, is there anything else that we can do to make your United journey more pleasurable? Please let us know in the box below. And for years, 500 plus flights, he has been writing the very same thing. Yes, next time I fly with you, I would love for you to refer to me as Peter, Lord of the Skies. They have never done it until recently, where he was at the check-in gate. He was just about to board the flight. He gave him his boarding pass to scan it, and they turn around, and the lady behind the boarding gate turned around and said to him, "Welcome back on board, Peter, Lord of the Skies." And he freaked out. What do you think he did? He took photos, he took video, he posted it on Twitter, he did everything. That's amazing P2P right there. So it's all about creating those special moments. And I think that ultimately, if you keep that in check with everything that you do from a content marketing perspective, it'll never, ever serve you wrong.
Yeah. Well, speaking of never, ever, let's talk about this, because I want to talk about the subtitle of the book. The subtitle of the book, this is The Rise of the Youpreneur, if you're just joining us. The definitive guide to becoming the go-to leader in your industry and building a future-proof business. Now, I just came back from a meeting with some very high-level smart people. They said there is another major economic train wreck coming in 2 years. So 2020, the economy is going to go to hell in a handbasket. A lot of people are going to be surprised, ambushed. The meetings industry is going to go to hell. The banking industry is going to go to hell. And of course, everything, we know this because of course everything is cyclical. There's ups and downs and so forth. These strategies that you're talking about in the Youpreneur book are meant to protect us from the ups and downs and the vagaries of the economy and various industries going thither and yon. Talk about this future-proofing concept. Why are these strategies going to help us have a future-proof business where we can be doing well regardless of the external conditions?
Yeah, I mean, look, my old man, he wasn't the smartest bloke on the planet or anything like that, but he dropped, several little value bombs into my earlobes on a pretty regular basis. And I remember one time we sat down, I was probably in my mid to late 20s, and he said to me, son, there's only 3 things in life you can really, really rely on. Number 1 is death. It's coming to all of us at some point. Number 2 is taxes. You don't want to pay them, but you're going to have to. Otherwise, you're going to go to jail. And number 3 is change. Change is inevitable no matter what you're doing, who you're doing it for, etc. And he is so darn right, because you can't control anything that you can't control. Referendum changes in Europe, presidential, situations that half the countries, maybe even more, is not happy with, stock market crashes, recessions, you name it. But here's the thing. When you build the business of you, it's 100% original. It can't be copied because of you being the very unique part of that business. Again, people want to do business with other people. So ultimately, building a business based around you and your experience, but not reliant on you on a day-to-day basis, that's where team building and delegation comes into play. But building a business based around you and what you can do for other people is ultimately future-proofing yourself. Selling online products, speaking, books, all these other things that we do as Youpreneurs is honestly, as far as I'm concerned, the best way to build a sustainable long-term business in today's world. I mean, you might not become a gazillionaire doing it, but you will always make very good money on a very regular basis, doing what you're doing and doing who it, you know, doing it who you're doing it for, if you're coming from a place of love and, you know, caring and value. And I think that people can see through the BS. You know, if you're trying to do it if you're trying to do it just for the money, people can call that from a mile away nowadays. Their BS antennas are very, very sensitive nowadays. For me, it really comes down to offering, you know, solutions to people's problems. That's what it is. And if you provide solutions to people's problems in the right manner, you're blessed to be able to put a price tag on it.
For sure. Well, and let me also just kind of, I'm channeling our listeners and also the readers of your book. And if you haven't bought a copy of this yet, buy a copy of this right now. Right now. You need to buy Chris's book. I'm opening it up to like over here. And I'm looking at all the different sections and all the different marching orders in here. And I'm sure you get this in the Youpreneur community. I know I get this among my clients. They say, well, Chris, that looks like a lot of work. How am I not going to get burned out and crazy and stressed out and work 24/7? You know, I'm making maybe $60 or $70 or $80,000 now. Do I have to work 10 times as hard to make 600 or 700 or 800K? You know, is Michael Hyatt working 10 times as hard as you and me? What's the answer?
Well, the answer is being smart with what you do, charging what you're worth, and making sure that you know the signs of burnout when they come your way. I mean, you know, I burned out really, really badly, as you know, in late 2009. And it took me a while to recover. You know, I even had back surgery from it because I was crushing my L5-S1 disc. You know, I had to have that fused. And, you know, when I look back at all that stuff and I understand where the struggle was, you know, honestly, it was really just a matter of getting the hell out of my own way and trusting other people to do stuff for me. You know, as entrepreneurs, we're not normal. You know, our DNA is wired differently. Our type A personalities come out. We want to micromanage. We think that we're better than everyone else, that no one else can do anything as well as us. And it really, I mean, you know, use Michael Hyatt as a perfectly good example here. Michael is the consummate personal brand entrepreneur, somebody who's building a business around him, but not reliant on him. He has got an incredible team that I think has doubled over the last 2 years or so. And he is utilizing the talents of other people to continue to build his own business, his own brand, but also the length of that business and the reach that it'll have as well. The Michael Hyatt company and his work will still be around and consumed many, many years after he's gone. And I kind of look at him and I kind of put him in the same category as great leaders like Zig Ziglar, for example, who, you know, in my neck of the woods in England, Zig isn't really well known at all. But I loved Zig Ziglar when I discovered See You at the Top, an audio tape when I was 15 years old. And I don't think that there's a month that goes by where I don't consume some Zig content. You know, it's his voice, it's his words, it's the way that you're going to have anything in life you want. You know, like, are you serious? How can you not want to listen to this man talk?
It's
he was
true.
A bloody
it's true.
genius. He's a total and utter genius. And so I think, you know, growing your business is one thing, but doing it to the point where you're risking your health is just a silly thing to do. My number one job in life is dad. I'm a father of 4 kids. I'm a husband of a best friend. And so, you know, I've got to make sure that I'm around for a long, long time. So I will build my company in a smart, savvy manner. And if that means I end up making a little less money along the way, then so be it.
Yeah, boy. I mean, that is so vitally important. I also want to talk about, you know, I mean, you mentioned all of these things about building the team and having patience and going above and beyond yourself. When you and I were starting this Facebook Live, right, I was like pushing the buttons and clicking things and Chris, can you see me? Chris, are you there? Chris, can you hear me? And now what you put in the book is that tech is one of the biggest stumbling blocks for youpreneurs. Now, beyond me not knowing how to click on the Zoom webinar and start the video and start the sharing, all right, I have a team. I generally don't need to click on this and do that and set up autoresponders and tag things inside Infusionsoft and You're also the author of the fantastic book that came before this one called Virtual Freedom, which is about building a team of virtual helpers, assistants, technicians, people who can aid your journey to become a Youpreneur. Tell us about the intersection of these two books, about your entire sort of, quest for smart outsourcing and spreading that message with Virtual Freedom, and how that is sort of important to get all of this done the right way without making yourself crazy or burning out.
Yeah, I mean, Virtual Freedom came about in 2014 because of the burnout in 2009, 2010.
Yeah.
And what I had done to ultimately remove myself from the business, and as a direct result, actually triple the revenue inside of 2 years, double the amount of employees, et cetera, et cetera. And so, I wrote the first book based on experience. I'm writing the second book based on experience because I've built a very powerful, profitable personal brand over the last 8-9 years online. So I'm only doing exactly what I did the first time round. I'm just talking from experience. But here's the thing. They are very closely aligned as two different titles, because as a personal brand entrepreneur, or a Youpreneur, as I call us, as a Youpreneur, a lot of the time, actually, we're on our own. Particularly at the beginning, we could be a solopreneur by the very definition. We're doing everything. Now, as your business grows and you make a little more money, you can reinvest in it by hiring the first executive assistant or the first web developer or whatever the case may be. But sooner or later, if you want to have more impact, particularly in a very kind of global environment that we do business in today, sooner or later, you're going to have to build a team. It's really that simple. The beautiful aspect, though, is that because of the way that the world is so very, very connected nowadays, you're not constrained to geographical areas anymore. You don't have to have someone working in your town or your city anymore. They can be on the other side of the world. And so, I look at my team at Youpreneur. I've got people in Australia. I've got a graphic designer in Australia. I've got a developer in the UK. I've got a content writer in Canada. I've got a video guy in Scotland, and I've got another graphics guy that I work with in the United States. I mean, my team is literally all around the world, and it's about hiring the right people for the right roles rather than just getting someone to do some stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. Very important. Well, let's also talk about, there's so many, literally, guys, you need to get this book because we could be talking all night, and we don't have Chris all night, but I want to talk about kind of a little meta thing that we're doing now. You talk about live video changes everything, and how we need to learn to enjoy having conversations publicly, like you and I are having this awesome conversation publicly, even though we're friends already. But talk about live video, talk about interviewing and showcasing other people, talk about how we can repurpose some of that video content. Why do you think live video is changing everything?
Well, I think that it's changing everything because of the very way that we are consuming content, period. I mean, Google even announced last year that by the year 2020, which is just 2 years away, that's ridiculous to say that out loud, but by the year 2020, 90% of all content consumed online is going to be video, and a large chunk of that is going to be live video. So why do you think Zuckerberg and the smart boffins over at Facebook are investing millions and millions of dollars in their live and their video side of their business? It's because they see it coming, like they do so many other things, right? So, and it's not just Facebook Live. It's not just this very kind of structured live format right here that is going to do so well. It's things like Snapchat and Instagram stories, Instagram Live, Twitter Live, Periscope, all these other little mobile live video formats where, quite frankly, you've got a TV channel and a show in your pocket no matter where you go. That's gold from a P2P relationship building perspective as well, because you can show people the behind the scenes. And I talk a lot in the book about the behind the scenes because people, again, want to do business with people they can really know, love, and trust. The like and trust thing is dead now. No like, trust doesn't work anymore. You've got to be loved. You've got to become somebody's favorite for them to really, truly buy into everything that you're doing and take that relationship to the next level, right? So I think that, you know, behind the scenes is really what I love more than anything else. Before I step on stage at an event, I'll be behind the curtain or, you know, stage left or right, and I'll be on there. I'll be mic'd up and I'll be on Instagram Live. I'm about to go live on stage. Do you want to come with me? Do you want to watch the introduction? Oh, it's going to be so much fun. And I will walk up on stage like this with the phone in my hand and show them the crowd and the clapping and the music and all the rest of it. If you get a standing ovation as a speaker, whether it's at the beginning or the end of your session, and you don't stream that live, you are missing out on some seriously good marketing collateral, right? So
there you go.
It's everything. Look, perfect example of the behind the scenes. And I talk about this actually in the book. When The Force Awakens came out, so Star Wars Part 7, right? When that came out, I instantly, as a big Star Wars fan, I went and watched that 2 or 3 times in the cinema with my kids and, you know, all that sort of stuff, right? But then when the Blu-ray came out, the Blu-ray DVD came out, I could have just downloaded the film, you know, on Apple or something to, you know, to be able to just watch it again digitally to get the HD at home. But I bought the Blu-ray because I wanted the extras. I wanted the behind the scenes. I wanted to see the table read with all the staff. Or the crew rather. I wanted to see the behind the scenes stuff. And there's one very, very poignant moment in that DVD on the extras where they're filming the scene where we see Han Solo and Chewbacca walk onto the Millennium Falcon for the first time in 30 odd years. And Han says, "Chewie, we're home." And the entire crew behind the camera erupts and claps and, you know, cut, boom, everyone goes crazy. I mean, if you're a Star Wars fan and you don't get goosebumps, I saw grown men on YouTube cry at that scene. That's the behind the scenes. You suck people in. And live video gives us as content creators the opportunity to do just that. We must be utilizing it.
Totally fantastic, my friend. Awesome book. Awesome book. This is the back of the book, however. This is a behind-the-scenes moment.
But that's still a very
awesome
good part
book,
of the book.
Chris. This is awesome. It's Jay Bear says the book is awesome. Awesome book, Chris. Tell us about the bonuses. Tell us where people can go. It's youpreneur.com/book. What will they find there? What will they get? Get a piece of this, people. Chris, tell us about what's on the website, what's waiting for us online.
Yeah, thank you. So to celebrate the launch of the book all the way through to March 6th, if you go to youpreneur.com/book, you'll be able to get a whole bunch of bonuses depending on how many copies of the book you buy. And I always say, people say to me, why would I buy more than one copy of the book? And I'm like, duh, give them away. One of the best gifts that you can give is the gift of knowledge, as far as I'm concerned. I'm a big reader. I love it when people give me books. I absolutely adore it. So just buy, 3, 4, 5 copies, whatever you want to do, and give them out to your friends, your colleagues, your mastermind group members, whatever the case may be. I've got a good friend of mine, Antonio Santino, is running a conference right now. He bought 100 copies to give to the first 100 people into the keynote room on his opening day. That's the kind of stuff that I love. So yeah, there's lots of bonuses. There's training videos. There's downloadable blueprint archives and a whole bunch of other stuff as well. You can just head over to the website and check it out.
Youpreneur.com/book. Youpreneur.com/book. Chris Ducker, you are awesome. I cannot wait to share our next bourbon together in person, in 3D, maybe at the Youpreneur Summit, maybe at an NSA event, maybe at our next Cool People dinner. All of the above.
I'm not bothered when it happens. I just need it to happen sooner rather than later. But before we go, can you do one thing for me?
Sure.
I would absolutely love it if you were to just go ahead and finish off that bourbon that's in the glass. You don't want to leave that on its own. It's lonely. Go ahead. Go on, get in there. He's tapping the bottom of the glass. I love it.
Because
Good
that's
man.
how a Youpreneur rolls. That's how a Youpreneur does it. I'm doing it my way. Frank Sinatra, My Way. That's the official theme song of your book. Am I correct?
It is now. You've just adorned it. That's it.
I did it my way.
Very
And
good.
that's why I'm a consultant and not a singer.
Mm.
Okay. Well, Chris, you're awesome. Thank you so much for sharing your wisdom. We're gonna push this video everywhere, because in chapter 7 it says repurpose, reimagine, redistribute. I'm gonna go into chapter 7 right here. I'm gonna figure, how do I spread this video? Where do I put it? How do I socialize it? How do I blow it up? We're gonna blow it up, buddy. I appreciate you. We'll talk soon.
Thank you, man. It was great to be with you. I really appreciate it.
All right. See you soon.